Welcome to the safest space in North America.
This is Small Talk with Ryan and David.
Broadcasting live from the beautiful state of Oregon.
Please be our guest.
Welcome in, everybody, to our first episode of Small Talk. I'm David.
And I'm Ryan.
This show is going to be just jam-packed for you. We're going to talk about everything from cream of wheat to answering the question, can
Joshua Hi-C hit a high C? So this week, I've been eating a substance that I haven't really had since I was about 5, and that is cream of wheat.
It's like oatmeal, but more creamy.
Yeah, definitely. And so here I am. I'm boiling it over the stove, mixing it in, stirring it up, and it kind of looks like a bunch of mush, which it is a bunch of mush. And it's bland. It's not really creamy, and it needs a lot of honey and cinnamon and milk to make it taste good. But you put it in your mouth, and it's like sandy mashed potatoes. That's what it is. So,
Sandy mashed potatoes.
but one thing I find great about it is it's a good source of iron and a good source of calcium. So I won't become anemic, and I'll have strong bones.
I think you always have to look at the positive sides of foods like that. I don't think I have quite as much of a negative connotation with cream of wheat. For me, I think cream of wheat is associated with it's a great breakfast food if you're on vacation in the Arctic, and you're in a cold place and you just want something that's going to warm your belly and it's going to help just to bring that fulfillment that life sometimes lacks.
Yeah. So whether if you're 8 months old or whether you're 80, it's just perfect for that age group.
It's really good if you're not good at chewing.
Yes.
If you're not good at chewing, which 80-year-olds and 8-year-olds both have problems chewing.
Yeah. And also, it's really good if you have oral surgery.
Yeah, which you had this week. Yeah. Which is probably why you were eating.
Yes. Out of necessity. Yeah. So you're going to ask, Ryan, did you have your wisdom teeth pulled?
That's what I asked, actually.
No. Did you have a root canal?
No, nothing cool like that. I had a root canal, but you had something.
I had something else. So what I had was, because of braces moving my teeth, and because of having my wisdom teeth pulled, that created gaps in my mouth. And those gaps were filled in with dead tissue, and they were rotting my mouth. But here's the thing, it happens under the surface, so you don't see it.
This is a lot of parallels to sin.
Mm-hmm.
Sin really just gets in and it rots you.
From the inside out.
From the inside out.
But the thing is, it goes undetected because it doesn't hurt, and you don't see it. But eventually, they were poking around. They're like, you got some softness back here. You need to go see a periodontist. So I did. He did the procedure.
That doesn't sound good.
And no, it's fine. It's just a quick fix. But it's just never fun to go through.
I heard you can't eat solid foods for 2 weeks.
That's about right. Yeah.
So have you been eating cream of wheat every day for 2 weeks?
No, I had it for lunch and dinner yesterday and I also added some peanut butter in it to spice things up a bit.
Okay, that's all right. Well, in this crazy world of oral surgery and cream of wheat, another thing that really is also in the mouth area is shaving.
Yes, and which is why, for you men who struggle with your grooming and appearance,
and I struggle with both of those things,
which is why we brought on our expert shaver.
That's right. We have Joshua Can't Hit a High C. His last name's actually High C.
Yes.
And he can't hit a high C.
So I've been told.
That's true. Well, first we're gonna start with let's start with shaving, and then we'll actually test whether you can hit a high C.
Sounds good. So what do you want to know?
So you were telling us that one of your passions. What are some of your passions?
Some of my passions are I really enjoy fountain pens. Fountain pens are super cool. They just give you like a really awesome feel for writing, and it makes you feel more like personal and real.
It's true.
I also really enjoy psychology and philosophy. Another thing I really enjoy is wet shaving. And wet shaving is kind of like that old-timey shaving that you see in like movies and you think is like totally gone forever because it was old and now all we have is cartridges and electric razors. But no,
Sort of
this
like
is not
letter-
true.
like-
What?
Oh, sort of like letters
Sort of like letters
Yeah.
and paper.
on paper.
But these things still exist, and there are very strong online communities for them.
Oh wow.
So,
Wow,
yeah.
that's pretty incredible. So when I think of wet shaving, the first thing that comes to my mind is I
Yeah.
would use water.
yes.
And also,
But is that not what you're saying?
This is partially not what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
do need water, as it turns out. But no, wet shaving is the process of using a brush, and that can be either synthetic, boar hair, or badger hair.
What's your favorite of those?
I only have a synthetic and a boar brush,
ooh.
and for the sake of efficiency, I usually use the synthetic because to use the
Can I add? Could you potentially use otter pelt for this?
otter pelts.
Yeah.
I would think probably not.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because whenever it comes to using a brush, it has to be able to absorb water and retain it. So that wouldn't work because it just like all the water would just
It would just
slip.
slide off.
Yeah, so you just have a dry brush always, and you really don't want that.
Yeah,
That
No,
would
you don't
maybe
want
if you
that.
want to do dry shaving, but not if you're doing wet
we got to
shaving.
bring
Yeah,
on a dry
that's just-
shaving expert next week.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
The otter brush shaver.
Yeah, their face won't look nearly as nice as mine does,
Oh.
but
That's probably,
Yeah, you
but
got
I mean
a nice
that has
face.
more to do than just the shaving.
yeah. So I personally use the synthetic brush because you have to soak the boar brush, and that takes like 15-20 minutes, and I don't really have time for that.
You have to soak it.
Yeah, you have to soak it, otherwise the water won't be in the bristles, so it won't retain water, and you need water as you build lather. So
Interesting. So, okay, so you have the synthetic brush,
I do.
which and so what's your process? What's your process from shaving?
All right, so usually I either start by waking up or going to bed.
Do you shave at both of those times?
Yes.
You shave twice a day.
No.
No, okay.
It just happens to be what I'm feeling. You know, if I'm feeling like I want to have a good day today, I'm really like feeling myself. I'll shave in the morning so I can like smell good all day.
Yeah.
Because the thing I love most about like wet shaving is not only the experience you get, but also the lasting scents that come with it. So I'll just go with the morning routine. So I'll wake up in the morning, feeling like Mick Jagger, and then I'll go take a shower. And after I'm done taking a shower, I make sure my face is nice and hydrated. Because if your face is dried out, you're more likely to get razor burn. So you really want to make sure that your face is like staying wet. So dry off. Usually I grab all my stuff. So what all that includes is I have a double-edged safety razor, which is like one of those old-timey things with like a handle, then like a piece across it horizontally.
Interesting.
And you put the razor blade in there.
Is it very safe?
Depends.
Got it.
Depends on how you use it, because it's also depends on the blade. Because so far from what I've seen, there are about 60, 70 different blade brands, and it really depends on like your face and your personal preference. Because one blade could work perfectly well for someone, but it could work terribly for you, and I've experienced that, and it's not fun. It really hurts. So
Gosh.
after
So you're shaving now?
so I'm
you're
shaving
shaving.
now, and I grab the lather, I grab my brush, I grab my aftershave, I grab a block of alum, and I grab a rag so I can just like wipe my face off and like wipe my hands off.
Yeah.
So the process is wet the brush, get your lather. What you do is you swirl the brush with a little bit of water on it.
Yeah.
You swirl it around there for about 15, 20, 30 seconds. And from there, you're loading your brush. And then once you do that, what you do is you start either lathering it on your face, in your hand, or in a bowl. I personally do face lathering because it is the easiest of all three, in my opinion. So I do that. Usually takes about, I'd say 5 minutes to build a good lather. Because sometimes
What are
it's
you
just-
doing when you're building that lather for 5 minutes?
Yeah. So the process of building lather is a very temperamental process. It takes a lot of finagling. So what you do is you start off just like getting all of this lather over your face or the area that you're going to shave. And then usually it's going to start off really dry and thick and pasty. You don't want dry, thick, and pasty whenever you're shaving with an actual razor.
No.
So you have to just consistently add more and more water to it. But you don't want to add too much at one time because it could just...
So how do you
Yeah,
know when you're properly lathered?
So
How can you tell?
I do the finger drag test.
Oh.
And the finger drag test is whenever you think that your lather is well hydrated and lubricative, you just drag your finger with the grain of your hair. And if it slides and doesn't feel like it's dragging on skin, I consider that good. But if it feels a little bit dry, then you want to add a little bit more water to it.
Wow.
So
it's really wet. Your
It's-
skin is wet. That's the whole
yeah,
point.
it's
So like,
pretty viscous.
okay.
So-
Sounds intense.
Yeah.
So it's lathered.
Mhm.
What do you do?
So then I begin with the first pass. With wet shaving, what you do is instead of just shaving once and then calling it good, you have to shave in passes. Because what you're looking for is reduction, not like destruction. So instead of just going like all different directions with the grain, across the grain, against the grain in one pass, you're going first pass always with, second pass against it, and then the third pass, second pass across, and then the third pass against.
Wow.
So
That's
the whole
incredible.
process takes about 20 minutes.
And then do you put on the aftershave?
Then you put on the aftershave.
Do you wash your face before you do the aftershave or directly aftershave?
Usually you wash your face, put on some alum.
Yeah,
Um,
alum.
Get that rinsed off, and then you splash on your aftershave, then you're
Man.
good to go for
Yeah,
So
the
20 minutes. 20 minutes shave.
Yeah.
Do you have a brand of aftershave you particularly like?
Now, yes, I have two brands or two scents that I really like. I have one by Barrister and Man,
Okay.
and that one is Lavenel,
Ooh.
and it is like a musky lavender scent, and that one lasts a really long time.
Wow.
And I love that. It's just like so nice.
What are you wearing now?
I didn't shave this morning.
Yeah, we were about to smell you. So it's probably a good thing.
Yeah. But, oh,
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So just really quick, if people want to do this, how do they?
Get
What
started.
brand? How do you get started?
I used Reddit. I did a lot of research and figured out like, okay, where do you buy? What don't you buy? Because there's a lot of like really crap brands out there, and a lot of things on Amazon that you don't want to get. So it really just takes a
Okay.
lot of like investing.
What
in
brand do
time.
you use?
I use Maygard razors.
Maygard razors.
I think it's based in America, but it has like a Canadian like.
So what you're saying is you could spend a lot of time looking on Reddit, or you could just use Maygard razors.
Yes.
Okay. And be safe from Reddit. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Remain pure. No, it's not. At least it's not Tumblr. At least it's not. No. Okay, so that concludes our shaving portion. But we have a couple other things we want to get to with you. This is the part of the show where we do everyday ethics. And we don't actually have our track queued up, so we're just going to have to pretend you heard music in the background.
I can sing a quick ditty.
Yeah, you sing a quick ditty, and I'll speak over it.
It's time for everyday ethics. It's time to know what to do.
Everyday.
Ethics.
Anyway,
That's nice.
so you were going to say an ethical situation that you've been in, Josh, and how we would respond.
Yeah, so this is more of a response type of deal. So how would you respond in this situation? So I was sitting next to Jeremy Abbey, and I was sitting also with another Josh, ironically enough. And Jeremy Abbey asked this Josh, hey, you won't take your plate, which was plastic and empty, and drop it on the ground right now. And he didn't. He didn't do it. He responded by not doing that thing that he was challenged to do. Whenever Josh returned from putting his plate where he should, Jeremy turned to me and was like, hey, you won't drop that plate on the ground right now. So what did I do? I picked up that plate. I walked around to the place where you get your silverware, and I looked directly at Josh, the one who didn't. I looked him in the eyes, and I dropped that plate. And it was probably the loudest sound I've heard in about 3 years.
Are you living under a rock?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I've heard really loud sounds over the no, but that's really I'm sorry. No,
Okay.
that's incredible.
Thank you.
That's incredible. So how would I respond? So would I meet the challenge?
Would you meet the challenge? And
Or
is
would
it
I
ethical
shrink?
to drop this plate?
I want to start off by saying, when you drop a plate, you're disturbing the people at the dining facility. People are going to have to pick it up if it breaks and shatters, the employees. So, and also it's just not good to go into peer pressure. So I'm going to have to say this is totally unethical and morally wrong and evil. So you did a terrible thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
You have to beg to differ.
I'm gonna say it's a sliding scale. Sliding scale. I mean, this really comes back, I think, to peer pressure. Is it moral to listen when they're telling you to do something that might cause disturbance? I'm gonna have to go with yes, it was moral, because I think by asserting your dominance in that moment, you proved that you were really a man, and that's more important than sometimes doing what would be like deontologically correct.
I would say what he did was toxic masculinity.
I would say it was good masculinity, not the bad kind.
Well, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, okay. Well, now we're going to see if you're a liar or if people are lying about you, because we're going to test. You were known as Joshua High C. You can't hit a high C.
Yes.
And you're going to be in the Lumberjack games tonight.
I am.
That's your nickname.
This is my nickname.
This
Yes.
is your nickname. So we're going to test. Can you hit a high C? So here's a high C. Just for those who
no.
can't recall a high C.
Oh.
Sorry, that's something.
Oh, no.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Oh my god. That was terrifying. Okay. No, that was not a high C. This is actually a high C. No, that's also not a high C. This is a high C. It was the first note.
Oh, no. Do I have to sing it?
Yes.
Hit it, Josh.
Oh, man, I'm scared.
Do it.
No, more.
No. What?
More.
More?
That's not hitting it.
Come
That's
on.
not it.
Belt it out.
I'd say it's 95% a high C.
95%.
Yeah.
I think that's a dishonest name.
Yeah.
Mm.
You are, Josh, indeed high C.
High C.
I am indeed high C.
Speaking.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the program, Josh.
My pleasure.
You've made it just a pleasure.
Just a
Thanks.
pleasure.
Just a
Just a
pleasure.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
No,
Thank
absolutely.
Now,
That's great. Now we're going to talk about our new weekly segment. Actually, it's not weekly. It's whenever.
whenever. And our beloved producer,
No, we're not to him yet.
we're not to him yet.
No. Now we're going to do American. This is something else. Remember? What do you say? You said you have to go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Actually, we're not. We're gonna skip American Social Justice Warrior. That's gonna have to wait till next week.
Yeah.
It's a shame. We're really excited for that piece of the program, but we're gonna talk about our producer is in the building. Come on, everybody. Can we give it up? Yeah. It's Eli Welter. Say hi, Eli.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
Yeah. So just what are you guys looking for?
We're looking for
Some poetry. That's
some
what.
poetry. Yeah.
Okay,
So we're
okay.
gonna have you read 2 poems,
Okay.
and then we'll pick the one we think is better.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So
I have to choose favorites.
it's
Okay.
true.
Well, I have one here called "Walking West" by William Stafford. So
Nice.
I'll
Who's William Stafford?
he's a poet who operates in the U.S.
Nice.
He's Oregon's Poet Laureate in 1975.
Wow. Local boy.
So this is Walking West. Anyone with a quiet pace who walks a gray road in the west may hear a badger underground, wherein deep flint another time is. Caught by flint and held forever, the quiet pace of God stopped still. Anyone who listens walks on time that dogs him single file. To mountains that are far from people, the face of the land gone gray like flint, badgers dig their little graves there. Quiet pace the land lies gone. The railroad dies a yellow depot. Town falls away toward a muddy creek. Badger gray, the sod goes under. A river of wind, a hawk on a stick.
Nice.
Wow,
Wow.
that touched my heartstrings.
It did.
Yeah.
Play a little tune.
Yeah.
It's makes me want to go west.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the West.
You know, we are West, really.
Yeah.
From a certain point of view.
There's really
Makes
really
you
not
think.
much further that you would go west.
Well, you could go to Japan, but that's really east.
At that point, it's east. Although Alaska is definitely more west than we are.
And they're also more northern.
Well, I've got another one here. It's called. Let me find it.
Obviously.
This one's called Sky in September.
Wow. Just missed September.
Is the next page? Does that one have sky in
October
it?
Sky, you know,
Yeah.
the one with the rockets.
Yeah, as you know.
It's one of my favorites.
All right. In spite of the months of knowing and the years, autumn comes with astonishment. Light held up in a glass. The terrible news in a haze caught breath in the warm leaves. In spite of the gathered dust and the vast moon, the day comes with a color. Its words cannot touch, so it is when I see you. After the years when the ailanthus leaves drift unnoticed down the gray wall. They have disappeared, and nothing is missing after their rocking and clinging. They have vanished like the thieves and shufflers and the words of the dealers. Taking nothing, they have fallen like scales from the eyes, and at last we are here together, light of autumn, clear morning in the only time. That was one from one of my favorites, W.S. Merwin, and he's unique because he doesn't use punctuation. He's a real rebel boy.
Ooh.
That's
So
really-
how do you so he allows you to sort of add those
Yeah.
nuances?
You have to follow the language,
Oh, wow.
That's
just
very
the
interesting.
flow of the words.
I think I like that one better than the first one.
I would say so too. It reminded
I
me
thought
of,
the first one was terrible, but I like the second one.
That's interesting.
you know, the first one did suck when compared to this. You know, I'll have to say
It's all on a gradient scale. Although I still liked the first one as well. It did remind me of the West.
Yeah,
But this,
There was-
I think, reminded me of autumn, and that's a better thing.
I don't know if you guys like to hear a little one I wrote about the West.
But
Really quick.
I just before you do that, I just have a question.
Okay.
So back in high school, if I didn't use punctuation, I got an F.
Right.
Why can this schmuck not use punctuation and get published, and I get an F?
Well, were you taking a poetry class?
Well, it
See,
would
that's
be
where
general
that's where you
English.
went wrong.
So if I just took
I don't think
poetry-
that's true. I don't think you can. I don't think that's true.
Well, it depends on the teacher, really, with poetry.
That's true. I just don't think. I don't know if I would want to take a poetry class in high school.
it'd be kind of lame. It'd be kind of a boring class potentially. But you know, I was a culturally sensitive young man, and I did appreciate the finer things in life.
It's true. That's why we're having Eli on this. He's really helping me along. In my
Culture
life.
us. He's
Yes,
culturing.
He's here to help. He's to help the lowly men.
Well, anything
find their- It's true. Anything does help.
So you told us you have a little poet?
Yeah,
Poem?
a poem.
Yeah,
Yes,
just keep it
yeah.
short. And you
Okay,
can
okay.
say it.
Yeah, this is about Buffalo Bill. Buffalo, 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 bang. Thank you. I'm proud of that one.
That was. I didn't know if he was gonna say buffalo one more time, or if he was gonna go with a bang.
They say to go out with a bang, so,
That's,
so I did.
that's true. That's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna leave it off there with a bang. Eli, our producer, thanks for
Being here.
So that's it for
Small talk
Small
today.
talk today. Yeah.
Yeah, we just love you. Thank you for listening to our show, and like Bob Ross would always say, God bless you, and bye-bye, my friend.
And the happy little trees as well.
Okay, that was the sign off, and you just came in again, Eli. This is not your show. This is not your show.
You
This
might be
is-
the producer, but it's not your show.
Oh my word, that was ridiculous. Just stop. Okay, let's try this again.
Yes. So as Bob Ross used to say, God bless you, and so long, my friends.
Why are we going with a Bob Ross quote at the end of this?
Everybody likes Bob Ross, and he's a quotable person to quote.
I always thought his painting could use a little more.
It's true. It really
Are you knocking the Bob Ross? Are you knocking?
It really seemed like Bob Ross was really sort of stuck in like a, sort of like
More
a
like
realistic
Bob
box.
Kincaid.
Oh, God. Bob Kincaid, more likely.
Some of Thomas Kincaid's early work, he was a lot more abstract and was actually big with the Expressionists.
That's interesting. I'm a big Kincaid fan. I really want to go to some of his churches.
Unfortunately, he found his niche.
You know, I think there's just too many. He's just too easy of a person to hate. You know,
Thomas
Kincaid.
Who's Kincaid?
He's the guy who does all those little like.
It didn't help that he wore pigtails.
No, but no, who is this guy? Who is this
He's
guy?
the guy who does all like the little like paintings of the houses. They have little light coming out of them in the forest.
You've seen him in your grandmother's home.
Yeah,
And what's his name?
Thomas Kincaid.
Thomas Kincaid.
Yeah.
Kincaid?
No, Kincaid.
Oh,
No, it's good. Well, I think now we're gonna finally sign off. Ryan's gonna give another shot. Let's try if we can come up with something better than Thomas Kincaid. I'm sorry, Bob Ross.
I got something from Merwin.
No more poetry. We're gonna limit it at 3. We're gonna limit
Okay.
it at 3.
so
Okay.
all I'm going to say is small talk is about community. And when we talk, we share. And when we share, we live. And when we live, we commune. And we commune by small talk. Goodbye, my